Good morning. It is so good to see you right here on Your World. How are you doing? Today it's a little bit better when we're looking at the weather. But where you are, I hope you're well. I hope you're excited about the day. But also, I hope you are excited about the conversation that we're about to have this morning right here on Your World. And on this first hour, on Wellness Wednesday, we'll be focusing on a conversation really that many women out there silently is the word, struggle with, and that is hormonal imbalance. And this is from painful periods, which most of the time we're told, you know what, these are normal cramps, okay? And probably majority of the times, there's so many women who experience so many symptoms that are quite severe that interfere with their school, their work, like day-to-day activities. So today we'll actually be looking several aspects from irregular cycles. We're looking at infertility concerns, chronic pelvic pain, hormonal imbalance, which again, like we said, it can really affect both physical and emotional well-being. And so many women really struggle silently. So today we unpack all that in this first hour of the show. So you want to stick around until the end. If you have any question, feel free to actually send it our way. And that is at NTV Kenya across all board on our digital platforms, as well as our WhatsApp number, which will be down on your screen. And even as you prepare for your questions, we have a question, for you on our end, okay? And the question that we're asking you this morning is very simple, okay? The question goes, when you feel unwell, do you first Google your symptoms before you see a doctor? If so, tell us why. When you feel unwell, do you first Google your symptoms before you see your doctor? And why? I can sort of like preempt the answer to this question, but hey, you let us know. Do you Google your symptoms first before you go to your doctor, or do you look for your doctor? We look forward to what you guys have to say, on our platforms as well as our WhatsApp number. But my guest today, he was here last week, and the conversation was really profound that we said, Doc, you must come back again, okay? And he's really, generous, I want to say, with his time. He is here again. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about Dr. Richard Saningo, who is not a new face, okay? He's been in the space for a very long time. Doc, it's so good to see you again. Dr. Saningo is a naturopath, okay? And just in case you missed out on the introduction last week, where we really got to understand what naturopathy is all about, okay? He is a health practitioner who focuses on promoting health and wellness using natural approaches. Good to see you, Dr.
Asante sana.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think my hormones are balanced.
That's good. That's good. And you know what? That was going to be
the
first question. That is very important, okay? Because majority of the times we talk about the imbalance,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So this morning I was actually, like, when I was getting ready for the show, I was just thinking, so what exactly does the balance look like? And do we actually have an instance where all our hormones, for us women, are balanced? Can we just start from there?
Is the focus only on women today?
Okay, we can do,
men too?
But majority of the times it's us who struggle. You guys, it's like you have it easy,
I know, and this is very important for us to understand that it's not only about hormonal imbalances appearing on the female gender.
Yeah.
It is also possible to happen on the male gender, and so, but of course, what comes out so much in the public is the female side. Mm-hmm. Hormonal imbalances are everyday issue for our sisters. Mm-hmm. And particularly from a certain age all the way to premenopausal times and stuff, and during menopause as well. Yeah. And a whole range of symptoms kick in, a whole range of complaints, if you like, and undesirable health issues come in. We can also, as time goes by, we can tie in with mental health, because with a kind of stress implications and situations that are adverse, cause this hormonal imbalances. But the key bottom line cause most of the time is lifestyle. How we eat our food, when we eat it, and when we eat it.
Okay.
it is also tied in with sleeping disorders, or we may have sleeping disorders in terms of clinical, and we may have caused one. We may cause them because there are so many ways now people disrupt their sleep. One is this.
Yeah, biggest culprit. Yeah.
Biggest culprit today, the blue light, too much information coming in, and spending more time in that. And of course, not only with the phone or the social media thing, but also work. Sometimes you may be in a situation where you're required to work a little off balance, and you interfere with your circadian clock. And so there are so many ways that we can induce this, from environmental issues and stuff. So hormonal imbalances are true for ages from puberty all the way to menopausal periods. Which is the most reported one when a woman is seeking to see either a gyno or any other health practitioner that may be helping on the issues. One, irregular periods. When your menstrual time is not coming in the timings that you know, and then you start skipping, and then it takes quite a while, and then again it comes, then they're worried. And when I was a younger man, I would wonder, zikikataa kuja shida, zikikuja shida. What do you want?
Where is the balance?
When they come, you're so happy.
Yes, when they don't come, we're stressed. Yeah.
And again, when they don't come, you're worried, particularly if they come when you know what you've done before and stuff like that, and you're not ready and stuff. So hormonal imbalances may cause irregular MPs, and that can be corrected. Not always do you have to do HRTs or hormone replacement therapies. You don't have to pump in a lot of chemicals into your body. Just go back a little bit, back up a little, and find out, how have you been treating yourself? What are you eating? Are you onto heavy, junk food? Are you, not sleeping well? Are you stressed? Are you going through patches of, stressful situations? All these things play in. There are people who are also in a situation where they have a lowered immune system, and it correlates together with a hormonal imbalance, and therefore they're prone to infections, vaginal infections, recurrent all the time, yeast discharges and stuff like that. And it can be very uncomfortable sometimes, whether you're in a relationship or not. It can be quite uncomfortable, and so therefore people start seeking answers on that. And so when you look into balancing all the key players, your immune system, your endocrine system, your circulatory system, and basically, your mental stability, everything comes back to normal. And this can be done without drugs. This can be done without even herbs. By you seeking to be present in your life and find out what is going on a daily basis. Are you eating well? Are you drinking well? Are you avoiding intoxicating stuff or stimulating stuff? Are you sleeping well? How are you handling your stressful situations? Are you taking it, pole and not necessarily internalizing and carrying stuff and all that?
Yeah, because we talked about it.
All these things play a part in your health.
In the health. And going back to the question on what balance looks like, before we even talk about the imbalance, because now we understand food is a big, literally our lifestyle, food, sleep, are we drinking enough water? How are we handling our stress? Because like you said, all this contribute. But I was reading through it. It's complex. There's the endocrine system, thyroid, hypo. I'm like, this is a lot. So right? It's and it seems very complex. And sometimes people with hormonal imbalance might not even know that this is hormonal imbalance, because it's very easy for us to quote unquote blame other things. Correct. And not really look at what exactly is happening in my system. So what exactly then does balance look like, so that if something is off, we are easily able to pick and say, okay, this and this and this is not going well?
The key hormones that when they fluctuate up or down, then cause an imbalance, estrogen, progesterone, the thyroid, the thyroid hormones, the thyroxine is usually what is prescribed after when you find there is a hypo and hyper. When these ones go off, when they're high or low, then you may suffer. For example, when your thyroid hormones are low, then you have hypothyroidism. What are the symptoms? You feel depressed, you're not present, you don't want to do anything, you feel fatigued. When they are overproduced, and then you're feeling cold at times and stuff. When they're overproduced, it's hyperthyroidism. And then therefore you feel you have panic attacks, you feel, you're not only panicking, but you feel kind of stressed, you're anxious and for no reason. And so, and both hypo and hyper, you may experience constipation. You may experience unexplained diarrhea, so you're not in a balance. You're either that way or the other way. When your estrogens and progesterone are not balanced, and they're both sex hormones, so you may go off in terms of intercourse, or the need for your libido may go down and stuff. When they're quite high, they may, unaleta tabu kwa boma. So that's what imbalances look like. Extreme, when it is more chronic and prevalently there, you may start having now, monthly periods that are not regular. You may start having PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndromes. You may start having issues with your it can even cross over and affect your insulin production. So you start having sugar issues, hyper. You may be borderlining diabetes. You may start having mood swings, serious mood swings, or sometimes, depending on your makeup also, depending on what other things are not doing very well, you may start having like bipolar issues or other mental problems. So all these things are related in a way. And so to self-medicate can be a problem, because then you must see a professional to do a consultation and to do a few tests here and there, so that it can be decided, is it a thyroid problem? Is it a sex hormone thing? Is it the polycystic thing? Is it there are many other issues that are gyno that can be found out that underlying cause. So all these things can come in as a result of this hormone and that hormone. The combination of which one is low and high will determine what condition exactly it is that you are suffering from. And so your health provider will then decide what works. Is it just lifestyle change? Is it correcting your digestive system that is failing? Is it Are we going to deal with the thyroid? Because you can even go all the way into thyroid problems, Hashimoto's, you know, any of those, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism. And it started just by hormonal imbalance, you see? And it can drift into quite a number of other issues that are serious, that could have been nipped. The wings could have been nipped at the very beginning, and because then you're seeing someone probably that has not looked into these things deeply, and therefore you're given you know, medications just really prepare the symptoms kidogo kidogo, and you're not changing these things. You're not changing your lifestyle. You're not. We're not looking into everything in totality. And as a naturopath, I always say, treatment should be holistic. Not, you don't just go for one symptom. Look at it from a holistic point of view, so that you do not necessarily under-assume or underestimate certain situations that may not be glaring, but will be pivotal to bringing in a much more bigger problem that would have been solved earlier on.
You know what, and even when you're mentioning some of the symptoms and the presentations, depending on which hormone, you know, is quote-unquote not balanced, it's common. I want to believe 99.9999% of women would say, oh, I've actually experienced this or that. Mood swings, like you talked about. Some would say, yes, irregular periods. And especially when we're looking at periods, most of the time we're told, this is normal. Cramps are normal. Even our great-great-grandmothers, you know, experience cramps. So what are you complaining about? And then we don't seek help because we think some of these things are normal. But what you said is very profound, that something could be, I don't want to say trivial, but could be minimal, if tackled thereon, could prevent a whole lot of other things that are happening in our body. So really that goes to say a lot on our health-seeking behavior and what we need to do as people, not just women, okay? We're due for a break, Doc, but when we come back, then we'd want to understand also hormonal imbalance in men, and what exactly does that look like? Yes, and where do they go, you know, to at least get that checked? But the question that we're asking you this morning is, when you feel unwell, do you first Google your symptoms before you see a doctor? If so, tell us why, okay? When you feel unwell, do you first Google your symptoms before you see a doctor? If so, tell us why. But also, if you have a question for Dr. Saningo, feel free to send it our way. But let's go through some of your feedback on WhatsApp. What are you saying on WhatsApp? Okay, so this one says, dear our world, a good rule to follow is when you Google your symptoms, then let Dr. Google also manage you fully. Okay. Hiya, Dr. Google. All right, but keep sending it our way at NTV Kenya across all board. But also on Facebook, there's one, okay? So this is Steve Manchester, who said, the last time I thought I was sick, I was hungry. When my wife gave me food, I became well. Bwana asifiwe. Kama mzima wa afya si kawaida na ni uwezo wa Mungu. I mean, I hear that. Both of us, when we're hungry, we think, you know, we're sick. But keep sending it our way, okay? And if you have a question for Dr. Saningo, feel free to also send it our way, either on our WhatsApp number or on our digital platform. But we also have his number displayed on the screen. So reach out as well if you need to reach out to him. But let's take a break. When we come back, there's so much to discuss on the other side. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Glad you're still with us. The show is Your World, and today is Wellness Wednesday. And every single Wednesday, we talk about anything and everything: health, wellness, lifestyle, everything, okay, in between. And today, the conversation really is, it touches on something that I want to be very careful with my words, okay? Hormonal imbalance. And it touches all of us, okay? Because majority of the times when we're talking about hormonal imbalance, we focus on the women. But Doc said, even the men experience hormonal imbalance. But the question is then, what does that look like for the men, which we'll tackle in just a second? And do men know that they also experience hormonal imbalance? That is the biggest question, okay? And before we tackle that, just a reminder of the question that we're asking you this morning, and that is, when you're feeling unwell, do you first Google your symptoms before you see your doctor? And if so, please tell us why. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why do you Google first before you see, your doctor? At NTV Kenya, across all board on our digital platforms is how you can reach us, or use our WhatsApp number, and we'll be going through your feedback in just a second. So, Doc, hormonal imbalance in men. I know today the focus really is on periods and, when the painful cramps, the normalcy about it and the not normalcy about it and how that comes about. But very quickly on the men, hormonal imbalance in men, what exactly does that look like? How do we know that this guy is not just having a bad day? There's something really going on in their bodies, especially with the hormones.
You see, for a long time, the public has been schooled that hormonal imbalances only belongs to the women.
The women, yeah.
And the women have believed it, and the men have believed it too.
True.
That they may not have symptoms and it has something to do with periods. No. Men do have hormonal imbalances, and sometimes it goes without saying, and it escalates to very undesirable circumstances. Men get depressed. Men get anxious. Men get to experience mood swings. The need for someone to come close to just pat on the back and say it's going to be okay. Yeah. Men have needs of to be loved, but what is the schooling? What we school our boys as older men? Got to be strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
We tell them, the man of the home. Strong. Yes.
And you see, when your testosterone goes down, it affects you mood-wise, not just because people associate testosterone with only intercourse.
Yes, unfortunately.
And the erectile muscle dysfunction issues. It affects your moods. Androgen. We also have estrogen, by the way. Men have estrogen as well, although in small amounts.
Doses, yeah.
And it determines so many things in terms of our situations. And when you have a hormonal imbalance, you can also drift into a borderlining diabetic issues when your insulin production is affected by all the other hormones that are key in play a role in metabolism and anabolism, the thyroid hormones. And all this juggle and imbalances that may happen due to outside or environmental factors can affect us, and you go into depression or you have panic attacks, whichever way. And then when you do you go and see a gyna? You don't even have that thought of going to see a doctor to have this explained or to find a solution on how to go about it. Then you get depressed, and then it moves on to so many other mental issues, and that's why you find, because men don't seek redress in these situations, undesirable circumstances happen. And it's said, huyo hakuwa na pesa ni kwa sababu unaona alikuwa anafikiria sana, ni brokenness ndio shida. But you may have money and you're depressed. For whatever reason, for other reasons and stuff like that. You may be going through some patches of relationship issues. And when you have this, your reactions may be, you're taking it out on your family back at home. You are quarrelsome with the children at home. You are narrow-minded. You have a foggy mind where mental fog, where you can't think straight. And one thing leads to another, and it becomes like a domino effect. One leads to another and another and another, and you dig deeper into chronic conditions. Again, nobody's advising you on what food to use, what substances to stop abusing, and things like that. So Yes, it's true that men can have hormonal imbalances, and most of the time it's not addressed from a clinical point of view. It's more of a cultural issue. You're thinking, and you know, you just recoil into a corner, and God helps you in one way or another.
It's like you'll have to figure it out on your own, because quote unquote, you're supposed to have all the answers. If you don't have the answers, where do we get here? Let's be more kinder, I think, to the men.
And the
to
women,
brothers,
to make matters worse, when they see you behaving like the way they would be behaving, they say, "But when I behave, come on, okay?" And they're like,
I just need to be told it's gonna be okay. Let's be kinder. Let's be kinder to the men in our lives. But just going back to the focus of the conversation this morning, Doc, where we're looking at when painful periods are more than cramps, and like we said, a lot of people, we've been told to normalize it. It's cramps. It's part of being a woman, and that should be okay. When should we sort of like not be concerned, but sort of like seek help to understand that no, this is not just cramps, something else is going on? And then we'll go through some of the things.
I'm thinking about a catch-22 situation.
Okay.
You get cramps, you don't know where it came from, you go and look for a solution, you're given a pill or family planning medication or a HRT or whatever it is, and then it somewhat comes back to normal, but you're experiencing other symptoms that you didn't have before. You start having constipation, indigestive issues, gastritis, and then you go seek another thing altogether out there, and then you repeat the same cycle over and over again. Painful periods can be corrected by lifestyle. It can be corrected by herbal medicines. It can be corrected by proper supplementation, knowing what are the missing links. Can be corrected by certain drugs as well, because people resort to the other. It depends on what choices you want to do. You may have stomach cramps because of, okay, let's start fast by saying a woman has 6 excretory organs.
6?
6.
Oh, wow.
Men have 5.
Okay.
So we all have 5, but you have one extra one that is functional every month, which is your womb, the genital urinary system. Every period is determined by how you've lived the past month. Ask any woman, no period is the same as the other.
Facts.
By viscosity of the blood, whether it has cramps or not, whether it is smelly or not, with odor or not, whether it is coming with pain or not, the intensity, how heavy it is and how light it is. All these things depend on how you've been treating yourself in the past 1 month, because all these toxins that come into your body are all collected up and routed towards where it will be emptied together with the unfertilized egg.
Okay.
So now, let's say you do have a good living practice the whole month.
Okay.
You're eating your fruits and vegetables properly, you're spacing your food 5 hours between meals, you're not nibbling here and there all the time doing the snacking. You are not using chemicals on your body. Your lotions are as good as possible so that they are not blockers and the rest of it. And you're applying your oils nicely, and you're sleeping very well, and you're exercising properly at least 3-4 times a week, and you're sleeping at least 7, 8, probably 9 hours a day, which is very impractical for a lady, especially if you're a mother, a wife, and a community worker and stuff. But at least you're doing 7 to 8 hours a day, and all your other issues are correct, but you still have cramps. Why? It may have come from the way the other hormones were disrupted by the other situations that we had described earlier on.
Okay.
But the other woman who has the same the other things are normal, but she is eating the wrong stuff, a lot of stimulating foods and stuff, and abusing substances, and you're eating all these super saturated fats and you have cramps because of your diet, and you're experiencing also constipation at the same time, because most of the time they go together. The constipation and all that. So it can be a catch-22 situation whereby these cramps may be caused by your lifestyle. They can be caused by clinical situations that are not adding up very well. So to solve this, yes, people will Google, and you cannot prevent from people. It's a time for Googling. We are not in the 1950s or 60s or 70s or even 80s. People have Dr. Google right there and AI. But sometimes most of their websites will not tell you everything all together, and that's why there's a disclaimer at the very end of every thing that consult an expert, consult a health provider, so that you're properly evaluated by a human being who has a little bit more knowledge on this. You may be given medications that work with another person. For example, you can be given pills, they don't work. You may be given herbs, they don't work. You may be given a good diet plan and it works. You may be given a good diet plan and it doesn't work. And you're given herbs and they work. And then you say, I was given herbs elsewhere and they didn't work. But this one's worked. And it's just a correlation of timing and so many other things coming together at the right place. You may be given an HRT and it works. But it didn't work with herbs. So sometimes when you have knowledge in totality, or at least you have, you are able to understand that the human body works as systems, and it's not isolated situations that may necessarily be solved at a go. The holistic approach to good health, whether male or female health, is about all systems working together in tandem. And let's not forget that hormones are substances that give signals to every particular organ for it to function when and how.
Okay. And you know what? It's that goes to say, just because we're all women or just because we're all men, it doesn't mean that whatever it is that we experience is the same. It's different for different people. Let's go through some of the feedback, Doc, either on the question of the day or if you have a question for Dr. Salingo. Let's see what you have to say on our WhatsApp number, if we're ready with that. All right, so this one says, my eyes problem, dilation of muscles in the eyes, and this is Max from Meru, okay? And then this one says, good morning, I am Lynette from Diani. Whenever I'm feeling unwell, I boil neem leaves and drink its water. It never disappoints, okay? And then this is a question, says, how about cramps during ovulation? That was not there before birth, but it is intense after birth of the third child, okay? Doc, I think that's a question for you. And then this one says, good morning, I need help or advice. My over 95-year-old mother complains of periods of very serious internal body heat. 95? Okay. What could be the solution? She is very old. Taking her out of the house is a challenge. Her complaints are consistent, feeling heat from inside her body. Thank you and regards. They did not leave their name. And then this one says, hi, Lubembe. I was affected with UTI infection. It lasted for 3 days before I went to a clinician until I saw traces of blood when I was wiping down there. I decided to see a doctor and I was given Cipro, I think. Cip, okay. And then I overdosed it accidentally and I took 1 times 3 instead of 1 times 2. Can it affect my period? Because right now I am feeling mild cramps, but I am not seeing any period because I missed my period my last period. All right, can we answer those?
Yes, we start with the first one. Well, let's start with the easiest. Okay. 95 years old, heat from inside all the time. That sounds like a nerve issue. Was it a male or female? It doesn't matter.
Grandmother, 95.
Grandmother,
yes,
okay. So the 95-year-old may have deficiencies pertaining to the central nervous system. The electrical impulses may not be necessarily working out properly. I would supplement the necessary supplements and good diet to support the central nervous system.
Okay.
And so it's not a very big problem. But nevertheless, it's good to do a few blood tests so that you are able to ascertain exactly whether this is the central nervous system or is it just a metabolic issue. The second question was
UTI.
the UTI.
You're given,
And you're given ciproxin or Cipro, whatever, it could be another Cipro. When you have a UTI or urethral tract infection, it may not necessarily be associated with monthly periods or imbalances with the monthly period. And UTIs are common with the ladies, depending on where you visit for short calls or long calls, and even how you wipe. Is it forwards or backwards? I think this is what the aunties teach and the mothers and to the young ladies, so that you know, so that you do not infect yourself from the anal region towards your flower. So basically, I think solving the UTI is a key thing. It's only that you had more concentration of the microbes or the bacteria that was affecting you, and so therefore you started having blood issuing, and that can be taken care of if you deal with the bacteria that is causing that. You can solve that with alternative medicine. You can solve that with conventional medicine.
Okay.
If it is recurring all the time, then it's time to question whether you are actually kind to your immune system. Are you bogging down your immune system by other practices such that the culprit that is all the time getting a beating is your genitourinary system? Then therefore you must visit a person that can evaluate this to know how to put to an end to the recurring UTI all the time. And of course, all other practices that you may be doing that are encouraging you to get reinfected over and over again. I'm not saying it is sexually transmitted, no, but sometimes that can be done by reinfecting through the same. And so therefore, some of these things you need to visit someone who understands and the extent on which you can be able to eliminate one by one and revamp your immune system, and you're in good shape. The last question was the overdosing. You did 1 times 3 instead of 1 times 2.
Yes.
She didn't mention the grammage, whether it was a 250, whether it is a 500 or whatever it is. An antibiotic, when you overdose, it's not good, of course. But it should not be the one that has thrown you off balance. Your off balance may have come as a result of symptoms that were still going to be affecting you, or rather situations that were still going to be affecting you due to the fact that you are either not doing your diet properly, you're not having your hormones addressed, you are trying to kill a bacteria, an infection, using as an antibiotic, but you're not addressing your hormonal balance. So do both, because antibiotics don't fix hormonal imbalances. They address infections or an inflammation. Yes, inflammations may affect your other usual functions of the endocrine system, but not necessarily being that antibiotic helping you to solve your hormonal imbalance.
I see. You know what, Doc? Let's put a pause, okay? And please promise to come next week, because we have so much to unpack, and how we talked about hormonal imbalance, tie that with mental health.
We didn't even touch how it is tied to mental health.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I keep insisting at this time and era, mental health is really something that needs to
we
be,
need to touch on.
you know, checked properly.
I see. So you promise to come back again
I do.
next week. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Okay, I want you to pause here, okay? And then we'll transition to a different conversation in the second hour of the show. But we have Dr. Saningo's number on the screen. So please reach out to him if you have more questions. For those of us who sent in their questions and were not able to answer, we'll also answer them next week because Daktari has promised to come, okay? So, Doc, thank you so much. Thank you for your time today. I know today is a bit short, but Doc says next week atakuja hapa. So we'll continue with the same conversation next week on Wednesday. But for now, allow us to take a break. And then when we come back, we'll have a different conversation. And especially when it comes to KEMRI and has been conferred the degree status and how that is important, especially when we're looking at research. So see you after the break.